Note to viewer, this video is specifically referring to mainland Chinese women who live in mainland China. Perhaps you were thinking of coming to China to meet a Chinese woman for a relationship or possibly marriage. Well, if that's the case, I wish you luck, but I think you should know it likely won't be as easy as you expect it to be. And you might even find the situation to be confusing, disheartening, and stressful. There's a high likelihood that if you're a foreigner in China and you display your affection to a local female, that she will reject you. And here are the main reasons why. Number one, you are a foreigner, my friend, a foreigner, or a Lao Wai, as they would say in Chinese. It was only about a decade or less ago when being a foreigner in China was actually an asset when it came to meeting local women. There was sort of a prestige and increase of social status if a Chinese woman was dating or married to a foreigner. It made her look more worldly in a sense. In some cases, it also showed that men across racial lines were attracted to the female in question, which gave her the image of being in high demand among men, which, of course, would be good for any woman's ego. Another reason that being a foreigner helped with dating was because Westerners, in particular, were viewed as being wealthy and coming with benefits, such as being able to move abroad, get a foreign passport, etc. These days, that has all been flipped on its head. If a Chinese woman rejects you now, the first and main reason is because you are not Chinese. Over the past several years, there has been a strong nationalist push throughout China as they seek to rejuvenate the Chinese nation. So, dating outside of their race is now more frowned upon than it is admired. Many Chinese women know that if they date you, a foreigner in China, that they will definitely face some negative comments and gossip from society and peers. Also, largely due to China's portrayal of Western societies in the media, they are more and more likely to view Western men as being poor or at least not having much in savings. And based on the way the media is here, they probably think you're a homeless drug addict as well. Oh, and I should mention probably a gun-toting homeless drug addict. And at the very least, at this point in China's development, they feel more or less self-sufficient. They are no longer nearly as desperate for money as they used to be, as families are generally better off now than they were in the past. On top of that, the constant portrayal of the West in China is that the West is run down, broken, and downright dangerous, whereas China is ultra safe and has more modern infrastructure like subways and high-speed rails running throughout the country. And the allure of going abroad in search of a better life is much less prevalent in today's China. These are generalizations, folks, of course. There will always be exceptions to what I'm saying here. Another problem with being a foreigner in China is that some women might be scared to consider a relationship with you because you are from a different country and you could leave China anytime. You could just pack your bags, be up, out the door, and on a flight before you know it. They realize that most foreigners won't stay in China permanently, which makes it quite a risk to consider a serious relationship with a foreign man. And to be honest, I can see where they're coming from in this regard. I mean, I get it, it makes sense, and I can accept that. Then there is also the chance that her parents would not accept her dating a foreign man for various reasons, many of which are pretty much the same as the ones I just mentioned to you. And with filial piety playing such a central role in Chinese society, the lady of your interest will most likely follow her parents' wishes rather than going against the grain in order to be with you. The parents play such a large role and are so present in their children's lives, even into adulthood, that they can really emotionally manipulate their children and put pressure on them like you could never imagine. Sure, there are cultural differences to consider as well, since you're from a different country and culture, but that's not generally a top concern or deal breaker. And the second reason on why they are probably likely to reject you is because chances are you don't own a home or car in China. Chinese women are, for the most part, pretty open about their expectation of a man having a home and car if they want to even give him a chance. If you don't have these things in China, that will definitely work against you in a big way. It's virtually a prerequisite for Chinese men if they want a woman to consider them for a serious relationship. Most foreigners in China will not have these things. Even if you have them in the US, unless your lady is willing to come to the US, they won't necessarily help you here. And also, for all she knows, you could just be making it up. Talk is cheap, right? They will help some, though, because at least she'll see that you are established and bring some material value and financial security to the table. With many divorced women or women in their 30s or above, they will likely be more flexible on this point, considering that in China, most men will not accept a divorced woman, particularly one with children. So if you're open to that, you'll have that going for you at least. Hey guys, 你对汉语感兴趣吗? Do you know what I just said there? I just asked you if you were interested in Chinese in Chinese. Perhaps you are like one of so many who always said that they wanted to learn a foreign language. How many times have you heard or said that, but there was never any real follow-through? Well, there's no better time than today to get started. If you want to learn a foreign language, then I would highly suggest considering learning Chinese. There are Chinese speakers all over the globe, so your chances to put it to use will be readily available. I have partnered with the team at Excel Mandarin, and I encourage you to go check them out. They have a wide variety of courses, small class sizes, 24/7 support, and a comprehensive website full of resources that will help you in your Mandarin journey. Also, their teachers are native Chinese speakers, so you can be sure that you are learning authentic Chinese and will be able to speak with confidence. Contact them now and set up your free trial lesson. Completely free, no strings attached. You can contact them by phone or email, all links below. Oh yeah, and I almost forgot the most important part. Be sure to tell them that Mr. Chopsticks sent you. Okay, now back to the video. And the third reason on why they might potentially reject you is that simply they aren't attracted to you. This point is being mentioned last for a reason, and that's because it's generally the least important factor when it comes to a woman making her decision on who she wants to consider for a serious partner. Many women in China are far less concerned with how you look than how much money you have or what you own. It blows my mind every time I step out of the door, some of the guys I see with some of these women. I mean, talk about a mismatch. Much of the time, the best looking women in China are married to very average looking men. And that's me being nice. A lot of times these guys are overweight, and I'm no judge of men, but just based on their physical appearance, they don't look like what I would expect women to like. You know, they're walking around blowing snot rockets, picking their nose, belching. I mean, it's truly unbelievable. But when you see them walk up to that nice new Audi that's parked there curbside, or maybe a BMW, and these days the chances are it's probably a flashy looking Chinese EV, well, then it all starts to make sense. This guy probably has some money and he's got a car. Surely he's got a home as well. And that opens up the market a lot for him. This is because financial and material security are much more important to most Chinese women than physical attraction. And I know I might face some blowback for saying this, but this is just the truth. These things are also more important than love. You can say whatever you want, but if you know anything about Chinese society, you know that that is true. Of course, being a tall, slender, nicely built, handsome guy won't hurt. And in fact, that could certainly help. But it won't get you nearly as far as having a decent home and a nice car. The reality is, however, that if a Chinese woman is not physically or emotionally attracted to you, well, it's not going to help your case. It's only going to further work against you, being added on to the previous two factors that I just talked about. Physically, Chinese women prefer a man to be kind of tall, not overweight. They also typically don't like shaggy, unkempt looking guys. They wouldn't be into a hippie kind of guy. They prefer a man who looks clean, no big shaggy beards, somewhat well dressed, no long hair. Facial piercings usually aren't a turn on for them. Just a decent looking, well groomed guy. No hippies, no punk rockers, no thugs, just normal, mature men. I'm not telling you all of this to try to be a dream crusher. Maybe you are really interested in China, you love Chinese food, and you just love something about Chinese women and always hoped to meet and marry one. Well, if that's you, please note what I'm saying here is not the holy grail. There are always exceptions. but I just want you to learn something about Chinese culture and what Chinese women prioritize when it comes to finding a partner. I'm sure there's some crossover with women all around the world, but I'd say, at least from my experience, these expectations are much more pronounced in China. They don't make it a secret that they expect you to have a house and a car. Many of them will just ask you outright early on in your communications. I just want you to have realistic expectations and go into the situation armed with some knowledge and understanding of how things work in China. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you all in the next video. 下次再见. I want to give an extra special thanks to all of my YouTube members and Patreon supporters for their help in keeping this channel financially sustainable. A huge thank you to all supporters from the $1 tier on up through the higher tiers. I want to give an extra special acknowledgement to my PCO tier members. And lastly, a huge shout out to my top tier supporters. Lee, Martin S., David is Da Wei, and 有爱心的外国人. Oh, and just so you know, you guys rock.
What do you look for beyond the sea, grasshopper?